Wrestling fans, what's happening? Doug McDonald here. Wrestling warm-up is on. It's live. It's Payback. We're ready to get going. I am obviously not in the man cave. I am surrounded by wood paneling inside of a beach house here in the lovely Pawleys Island, South Carolina, where the beach is so gorgeous that, man, it was hard for me to come and join you guys, but Payback is tonight. I wanted to make sure that we had time together to go through the card and discuss our ever so popular Wrestling Rumors drinking game for each pay-per-view, written by Mr. John Alba, who's joining us, as well as the real Warhood, Ed College at JBL's Dragon. Warhood is giving a really weird thumbs up right now. Walter is joining us as well at Walter Sports, and of course at Glass Mode ALB, the voiceless of the voiceless Mr. Alex B. Song is joining us as well. And we're going to run through the Payback card for you guys tonight. Obviously, there's a lot of matches that are coin tosses at this point. Could go either way. Could wind up in any kind of crazy finish. Of course, there are those that are extremely obvious i.e. the kickoff match is extremely obvious, and we'll go ahead and say what that is, and that was all of us, even two outsiders that joined us for the staff picks this month on WrestlingRumors.net. All of us picked, of course, El Torito, the Bull, to go over in this match, which will be a just absolute crap show. I hate these midget matches. I can't even express how much I hate them. But Vince loves them. And we're gonna keep getting them for the time being. It looks like this will be the end all of these, at least until, honestly, I don't know if this is gonna be the end all of these matches. Do you guys think this is the last one they're gonna have? Because Leprechaun doesn't come out for another month, and that's the whole reason we're seeing Hornswoggle. And of course, now we know the whole reason he grew his hair out is to get it cut off. Anybody have anything to say about this match?
It's going to be a train wreck that we're not going to be able to look away from.
I like that we can only see you from the nose down, Warhead.
Oh, hi.
You're like creepy Citizen Kane. You're in black and white. We can only see you from the nose down. I'm expecting you to say Rosebud and us move on from the ending of the movie. I don't know what's happening, but Walter, we were talking before we went live. You're not excited about this card whatsoever. Tell me you're in the most PG-13 way that you possibly can, because we definitely weren't PG-13 before we went on the air. Tell me what you can expect in this El Torito and Hornswoggle bout. Hair versus mask, which should be hair versus face if them removing the tail was real. If he actually had a tail, then it shouldn't be a mask. It should be face or head.
He'd also probably be put in prison.
Walter, please.
What do I expect? I expect me to warm up a slice of pizza, have a nice cold beer in front of me, and be in front of my TV watching something else, because I'm not going to turn on this crap. We all know El Torito's going to win. They're not going to take the mask off him because that defeats the whole gimmick. At least with Hornswoggle, they're going to shave his head for the movie or something. I don't know. And maybe if it was WLC too, because WLC was pretty entertaining.
It was entertaining.
It was the second best match at Extreme Rules, behind Shield and Evolution. I could care less about this. El Torito's going to go over, and hopefully it doesn't last too long.
You mean you could not care less? You couldn't care less.
You know what, English major?
Canada.
I've been editing a book lately, so I've been having to do all that.
So we talking Canada, yeah.
Oh gracious! I mean, honestly, I don't think is there that much that we need to talk about this match. Like, is there anything that
it might not be as bad.
Ed.
It might not. The concept is bad. Sir. We said the same thing about WLC. We said the same thing.
It still wasn't a good match. It was just entertaining.
I'm saying that we crapped all over it the first time.
And then Drew McIntyre looked like a gymnast going over the top.
Do we see that happening again? Do we see a spot like that happening again?
No.
There could be. I'm not saying it's going to steal the show, but it might not be as bad.
It won't be bad.
You two need to get out of here.
Okay, Alex. You need to get out. Voiceless of the voiceless. You tell me why it's not going to be bad.
Because it will be entertaining just like the first one. That's all I need. All I need to do is entertain.
Okay, AB, you tell me the last time a hair match was entertaining.
Good
Do not say
Trick
Vince versus
question.
Donald Trump.
Kurt
Do
Angle.
not say it.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Punk and Ray wasn't actually as bad.
Yeah, the pump wasn't bad.
No, oh, come on. Get out of here. Hair matches, to me, for me, in my opinion, hair matches are a big wah, wah, wah. I do not like hair matches. I just hate them.
B-Song, who never, ever speaks up, chose
It's
this match to be
yes!
the
He's got a Vince McMahon midget fetish. That's what he's got. He's all about it.
Stick it up for the little guy.
So, am I telling you why you're going to be drinking
More midgets.
John Alba, hey, speaking of which, during this match, John Alba has a list of things for us to do while we watch this. If you're not an advocate of alcohol, which not everybody is,
Drink water.
You can always drink whatever you want. Water, apple juice. It doesn't matter.
Sunkist.
Milk. You can go Kurt Angle and drink milk. It doesn't matter. Just tell us what we're going to be doing during this match, Mr. John Alba.
So, whether you choose to be drinking a nice Dasani water bottle, or whether you choose to be drinking Shock Top, or whatever your drinking pleasures may be, you're going to be drinking if, throughout the evening, we'll start with El Torito and Hornswoggle. El Torito is referred to as the bull. And, Doug, you already did that, so you would already, in theory, be taking a sip.
Already am.
JBL mentions El Torito's tail missing more than 3 times, which you know is a lock. So just
That thing's going to be pinned back on his butt with a Band-Aid.
it might be.
Does it come back off again
It could.
in the match?
Anytime WLC is mentioned, anytime JBL says, "Oh, this is the greatest," okay. If any one of the announcers says it writes itself, which they have done, and we joked about that, but they've actually done it.
King literally did it on Raw.
Hornswoggle gets shaved in a tiny barber chair.
Wow.
and then waterfall your drink, which you can do if there's someone next to you, and you just drink until one of you stops. Basically, if there is a little person barber shaving Hornswoggle.
Well,
Wait, nothing for a Drew McIntyre thrust?
Uh,
Any pelvic thrusting?
uh,
Why are you so concerned about pelvic thrusting?
yeah.
I'm just saying, if we're looking for cheap reasons to drink, that's definitely.
No, Ed. Again, the game is not will you get drunk. It's how drunk will you get.
I'm just trying to add a couple of pieces of wood to the fire.
I'll tell you what, it would probably do WWE Creative some good to actually play this game while they watch the pay-per-view play out.
Alba,
because they'd realize what they're doing.
I just noticed that you have a picture of Scott Armstrong.
Hashtag Lord Body Rips.
I'm not even going to ask why, but we'll move on. The next match that we have listed on our predictions page is, of course, another match that all of us picked the same victor. And even James Borbath and, of course, John McDermott, Mr. Warhood, who did predictions with us this month. We all picked Bad News Barrett to go over Rob Van Dam and retain his Intercontinental Championship. There's not much to this except for it's just going to be it'll just be a spot-filled match. It's going to be a decent match as long as RV doesn't get confused like he did 2 weeks ago on Raw, where we're going to be okay. It'll be a good match. I fully expect to see some crazy stuff coming from the top rope with a bull hammer or whatever, because if there's anything that Bad News Barrett's tried to explain to us over the last few weeks, that bull hammer could come from anywhere. So that's the whole point. It's going to come out of left field. I don't know what's going to happen, but we all pick Bad News Barrett to win because we just don't see him losing the IC title this fast, especially not with them pushing him the way that they are. You see any kind of chance? Any kind of chance. Anybody that's watching us right now, join us on Twitter @WrestleRumors. Let us know what you think about this match. We want to get your opinions in here as much as possible as well. I know that we have some guys tweeting us right now that are watching. Patrick, who's usually in here, rated PWF, is tweeting along with us. Acer as well, who's always on here. Jared Boucher, or Butcher, however you say your name. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's Boucher because it's Boucher. Jared Boucher says, "What's the over/under on CM Punk chants tonight?" Is that part of the drinking game, John?
It's not, because I'm trying to distance us from the CM Punk stuff. Because CM Punk didn't actually exist. So he didn't exist. So
we're trying to Benoit Punk.
Right. Doug, relating to the match, I really want to see Barrett win this one clean. I don't want to see him have to cheat to win this. I want to see him actually do something worthwhile because, I mean, here's the reality. RVD is going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match just because it's a ladder match.
Correct.
And there's no reason to extend that feud past this if that's going to be the case, other than maybe by 2 weeks and have a payoff match on Raw. But I want to see Bad News Barrett go over clean in a good match, and that be it.
Well, let's just put it like it is. I mean, RVD is your Chris Jericho part-timer who's just here to put people over and to make guys look good, which he can do very well. B-Song, you got anything to say about this match? Like, do you think you'll see anything special, other than obviously what everybody picked, Bad News Barrett going over?
No, probably not. Just going to be a great match. Much like much of the pay-per-view, we're going to get good wrestling, but besides that, there's really not much I'm looking forward to.
Walter?
Yeah, Barrett's going to win. I mean, like, you hit the nail on the head, man. Like, RVD is there to get a check, have that Chris Jericho type role, make everyone else look great. I hope he does go over fairly clean. He'll probably get one of the louder chants of the night. He always usually gets really good fan reactions in front of smart crowds, and Chicago, I mean, it doesn't get any smarter than them. But again, this is probably a match you could see on Monday Night Raw. I'm not really excited about it.
I still think it'll be a good match. I'm not putting anything behind these two guys because I do believe that they are good at what they do, but it's pretty predictable. And on a pay-per-view card that's only half predictable and half not, it's providing us with one of our predictability, over-unders here. This is one that we're definitely going to be watching to make sure that we get our picks right as far as that goes. Also, we have another match that all of us picked the same guy to win.
Are we drinking or no?
Yeah, we're drinking. Go ahead and tell us what we're doing
Okay.
there, John. Boy, I forgot.
That's all good. It's all good. Well, anytime JBL says, I love this guy about Barrett, okay? So if JBL loves Wade Barrett tonight, if JBL impersonates Barrett saying, I've got some bad news.
I love this guy. He's on JBL Cole Show all the time.
There you go. Cole.
What happened?
Cole mentions how many times RVD has been Intercontinental Champion. Because it seems that any time RVD competes for a belt, that's something that comes up. Barrett gets the bad news chant, the bad news chant started. With a hot crowd like Chicago, that's a pretty good possibility. And if Barrett hits Bullhammer on RVD while he's in midair. So
I like that one.
That would be
an eye out.
epic spot.
It's happening. Some way, shape, or form. That spot's happening.
Doug, I watched the JBL and Cole show this week for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And, God, you need to be high while watching that. I feel like to understand.
Come on, man! It's the best show on YouTube.
Stream of consciousness.
The last Fridays episode was just such a cacophony of just random.
It's so random. It's like an episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
What's wrong with that? Wait.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it's super random.
Hey, boy. Hey, boy.
I love Aqua Teen. I love Aqua Teen.
Don't diss me, boy.
All right, Meatwad. Cole.
I don't know what's happening.
I gotta start watching that show.
Let me tell you something. If I were a wrestler, my gimmick would be Master Shake, okay?
That would be awesome. Oh my god.
I just want to be
That'd be an
Carl.
impressive
I
costume.
get none of these references.
How do you not get any of these references?
I don't watch the show.
The show's 12 minutes a show.
We have one
legal
channel
by
in
you.
here in Canada, and
It
it's
only shows Raptors games. It shows Raptors games and Big Brother, and that's it.
Yep.
I don't even know what the Raptors are, man. I've never done it before.
Exactly.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things is, yes, we're definitely. I think we're definitely going to see that spot. But I mean, JBL and Cole show is the most ridiculous thing. If you think their commentary is bad, look at that show on YouTube, and you'll see what we're talking about. Moving on with the card, though, another match that we all picked the same guy to win: the Bulgarian Brute, Rusev.
He ain't Bulgarian no more, brother.
He's
still Bulgarian.
Oh,
they
no,
call him
no,
the
no.
Bulgarian
Stay
Brute.
tuned for the
Russian
drinking
Now
game.
resides in Russia.
Stay tuned for the drink.
Is Roscallion.
That's how he said Bulgarian. And they literally, if they introduce him like that again, I'm just gonna lose my mind, which is
You're
gonna
going to
happen.
be
Don't worry.
drinking, but anyway.
Cole's gonna be doing that left and right. But the good news is we get to see Lana come out during this match, which I'm
Yeah.
I already told I actually tweeted this earlier. Walter knows what I'm talking about. You want to figure out a way to really troll the crowd. Send her out in an LA Kings dress. It'll be right around the time the game's going on. That will get him some great Chicago heat.
It
She
would
hates
if she
America,
wasn't
though.
Russian.
Yeah, I understand that.
Wasn't Russian.
Even if like the owner was Russian, like
No,
if
that's not
Like,
okay.
but I'm just saying
Something to
that
make things work. The
All right,
dog.
now we're getting off topic.
Eric's more likely to do a Kings reference than anybody.
I could
who
see
cares?
someone. I could
Fuck
see
it.
someone like Paul Heyman doing a Kings reference. Okay, let's just put that out there. Paul Heyman might make your Kings reference, but
especially
it ain't gonna be
Not sure-
Lana
not
coming
sure
out
if
in a
it'll be
Kings
early enough,
dress. Sweet Lord, she's coming out in her suit like always, and she's gonna tell Rusev to crush.
I'm just waiting for her to do the little turn.
And Manzo will be crossing his legs the entire segment.
I'm just gonna let my tent ride, buddy.
I'll salute her.
We all pick Rusev, but John, what are we gonna be doing in this match with our cups?
Sure. So during this match, you're going to be drinking if Putin is referenced, so that was just a nice little gimme sip there. Okay. Anytime Lawler makes a creepy comment about Lana, drink.
Wait, Lawler or
King. Lawler.
Why would it not be? Why would it not be Lawler?
Walder?
Well,
I heard Walder.
You see, the thing is,
Walder.
no, Walder may do the same, but here's the thing. Like, I mean, you could say it's Lana, or it can be about 13-year-old girls, because Lawler can go either way. Anyway,
This show definitely took a turn.
Anywho, anytime Cole refers to Biggie as the big man, which he's done a few times, Cole calls Rusev the Bulgarian brute now residing in Russia. And Cole notes Biggie's athleticism.
What if he notes his titties?
Big Titty Langston.
That guy's got humongous pecs.
E. Cup Langston.
He's got ginormous.
He'll be wearing
pecs.
the man's ear.
The man's ear. The man's ear.
AJ Lee is hiding in Langston's titties.
Speaking of Diva, let's now start getting to the part of the card that is more unpredictable for all of us. There's the Divas Championship match on this thing, which shouldn't be a terrible match. It's going to be the bathroom break, but it shouldn't be a terrible match. Obviously, Paige, the champion, the current champion, is going to be defending her title against newly crazy chick, Alicia Fox. And we've got some differences in opinions, finally, for this card. Myself, I think Paige wins via submission. Will Benson said that Alicia Fox will win via pinfall. John Alba says Paige via pinfall. Frank Manzo of WrestleReaction.net and WrestlingRumors.net says Paige via pinfall. Chris Walter picks Alicia Fox via pinfall. AB, Paige via submission, like myself. Joe Omega, Paige via submission, like myself. Our boy James Borbath from at Condo on the Moon says Alicia Fox via pinfall, and the Real Warhood says Paige via pinfall. We're all on different pages for the most part. Some of us think Paige via pinfall, some of us think Paige via submission, and of course there are those few that think Alicia Fox is going over in this match. Walter, since you are the one that's here, obviously Borbath and WB are not with us, so you tell me, why are you so high on Alicia Fox going over here?
Because what she's done on Raw the last couple of weeks is far more interesting than anything Paige has done since she's been Divas champion. And that pains me to say it, because Paige, I've been a huge fan of her since her days in NXT. I thought they would use her more effectively on the main roster. They haven't done that yet. And I think, with the Divas division there being so few heels, why not put it on your hottest diva at the moment, Alicia Fox, have Paige chase her? It's not going to do any harm to Paige. She's super young. She has years ahead of her of winning the belt. I think that's the way to go. You have Paige chase Alicia Fox until AJ Lee comes back.
My only question with that is, and I want you to respond, is how weak. I mean, you say it doesn't affect Paige at all, but in my opinion, and I want to know your opinion, because you just said that it doesn't make her weak. She has plenty of time to regain the title. But you don't think that it makes her any less strong? You don't think that it makes her weak at all to lose the title here? You don't feel like it's a waste of her debut? It's a waste of her coming up and just and stealing the title from AJ Lee? You don't think that there's money in Paige versus AJ Lee in a month at like Battleground when AJ Lee comes back? You don't think that there's money there? Because if I'm the WWE, and I take the title off of her, I'm not going to give it right back to her at Money in the Bank. I mean, that's just to me that's creative wasting her debut and her current push.
Yeah.
But I would like to know, do you think that's valid, or do you think that there's no she's not going to lose any push, she's not going to lose any strength if she loses the title tonight?
Well, my thing is this. First of all, we don't know exactly when AJ Lee's coming back. We hear Battleground, but it could be later than that. We don't know. We know she's getting married to Punk in June. She could be out even longer than that. So we will get AJ and Paige at some point,
right.
But it might not be as soon as some people are probably thinking. And as far as, with Paige and Alicia Fox, I just think you go with the hot hand at the moment. And I think WWE, with the way their programming has been as of late, I think nothing is really set in stone anymore. I think they can go in a million directions to just try and create some interest, because we can all attest to this. We've been watching Raw the last couple of weeks. It's been terrible.
But what you're neglecting, Walter, is that if Paige lost this match, Doug, you're talking about losing momentum.
Yeah.
If Paige lost this match, that's her second loss to Alicia Fox in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And second clean loss to Alicia Fox as well. And, I mean, what the hell does that say? Why is there investment in Paige then?
First of all, she could still win and not have it be a clean victory. She could still cheat.
No, I understand, but even if she loses by cheating, I mean, that's still another loss to Alicia Fox. And don't get me wrong, I think this is the most viable candidate to take the title off her.
Agreed.
And the reason I picked pinfall also, by the way, side note here, I think it's important for her to start getting the Paige turner over, because she hasn't really been using it all that much.
I think it sucks. I think it's terrible.
Just to bounce off of your point, you said Paige has momentum. Paige has zero momentum at this point.
I didn't say Paige has momentum.
I agree.
You said you killed. Didn't you just say you killed?
No,
some
I
momentum?
said it would absolutely kill anything she had.
Yes.
She has nothing though. She has nothing.
That's what I'm saying as well.
How excited were we when she debuted on Raw and she won the Divas title, and we thought this was going to be, she was going to ignite some new life into the division. She's done jack with that belt.
I agree. It's the same thing they did with Big E. I mean, it's literally the same thing they did with Big E.
So I say give it to Alicia Fox. I say give it to Fox. She's interesting.
That's the thing. I mean, honestly, with me, this is one of those. I said literally the first 3 matches were predictable as that. The rest of them are coin flips, because we have no idea if WWE is going to hit a reset button. We have no idea what they're going to do here. All we know is that Alicia Fox went out and made herself relevant for the first time ever in her career over the last 3 weeks. When she first went crazy, it was in Greenville. I was there, and we were all going. I literally said, "Wow." On a crappy show with a crappy crowd, this girl just made herself relevant. And we've seen what's happened over the last 3 weeks. I'm glad that she's done it, because she's good in the ring, and she needed to get her character over in some way, shape, or form.
I'm just worried that they're going to hot potato it.
No, I just don't know if they're going to actually do anything with her, as far as I think that they needed to make a heel character to feud with Paige over the next
Right. That's what I think this is more a case of than anything else. And I think the payoff match between AJ and Paige is at SummerSlam. So what you could do is, I mean, in theory here, if you really want Paige to drop the title, you drop it to her until Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, she defeats her for it again, and then at Battleground they have one more match where Paige defeats Fox again. But again, it's just...
And just a quick point. I wouldn't even be opposed. I talked about this on the Savage Condo on the Moon podcast that I do every week. We were actually open to the idea of having Paige versus AJ versus Alicia Fox in a triple threat match. I mean
if Alicia Fox makes herself that relevant,
that bad. I don't think
she's made herself in the last couple of weeks more relevant than any diva in the division, with the exception of what we saw at TakeOver.
No, but she has to stay that way though.
Yes.
And I feel if she loses it tonight, that's just going to derail everything she's done.
Can't do the same thing every. If people are getting on Bray Wyatt's case about doing the same thing every week,
right?
I mean, come on. If Alicia Fox just after every match just goes, "I'm crazy," and that's it.
Looks for a case of Coke underneath the ring.
Hey, did you guys see the live event video where she threw Chimmel in the ring and then started
that was
dropping
awesome,
the F-bomb? She dropped the F-bomb on the crowd multiple times.
Yeah, that's a German crowd.
It's Germany, yeah. They probably didn't even know what she was saying.
It's a word of endearment there.
They know that word.
Yeah.
They know that word.
Well, because JBL was there, that's why.
Is the problem with...
Alicia's going crazy!
Is the problem with the Paige, whole, development, the fact that AJ Lee left? Because she has no one to feud,
Well, yeah, that too.
They knew that
Lee and CM Punk again.
There's no heels in the division.
The problem
Right.
is that she ran through the heels so fast. After she won the title, she was cruising through the heels so fast that it was just
Right.
they had to create something so quick that it just looks so just
Yes.
mishandled.
Yes.
You could have
And
had her
that's-
fight
that's-
Summer Rae, but she's with Layla right now, so.
Right, and of course, and Summer Rae, even though she's still a heel, is in a heel program with Layla.
I'm
because they're
telling
both-
you,
Playing
they
makes
see,
zero sense.
and you will disagree with this, and I disagree with it too. They see Trish Stratus and Summer Rae. Guarantee it.
I don't see
Oh,
that is
man.
the most
Jim Ross
ridiculous
even said it.
statement I've
Jim
ever
Ross
heard in
even
my
said
life.
That is
No
so
way.
JR even said,
I
JR said
don't
their
care.
eyes are opening wide when they see Summer Rae.
I don't care.
I don't buy it.
I don't agree.
Unless
with
Summer
it.
has her top off, I don't know why anyone's opening their eyes to her.
Why
don't
are we
care.
getting all pervy on this girl?
I don't
No, I'm just saying that that's
happening.
there is nothing to be gained from Summer Rae thinking about her anywhere
She's
near
a good
top
talent.
tier.
She's just not Trish Stratus talent.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
that's a big.
Trish Stratus wasn't Trish Stratus talent early on either. Okay?
No, I agree, John. I was about to get to
Yeah.
the point that Trish came in as this hot model that was in Maxim every month,
and was terrible.
Who
at
became
wrestling.
who was a manager, and until she was with TNA, she was with Tess and Albert, and then literally, if she had not done that angle with Vince McMahon, she would have been relevant.
Exactly.
Never ever would have been relevant. But she did that angle with Vince, and then did that angle with Triple H and Steph, and that made her relevant as much as a character goes. And she was in the ring, wanting to become a wrestler, training super hard, and got really good. She was not good when she started.
No.
It was terrible. She didn't know how to take a bump.
But she
She got a concussion a couple of times from taking bumps in the ring before she even got where she could actually compete. And she's one of those success stories, Eva Marie is not one of those success stories. We've seen Eva Marie training for a year and still can't seriously pull off a roll-up, which is her finish.
Thank
Can't
you.
even pull that off. So, even
love
though
it.
Eva Marie is in the top 100 of Maxim, which is the only reason you saw her in a match this past week on Raw, even though you see her on TV, they don't look at her that way. But look at all the people. Eva Marie was set to be a heel at first. And because of Total Divas, she's a face. And the thing is that they had to make Alicia Fox more of a relevant heel for the Divas because they just don't have them. They could easily turn Natalya into a heel.
Yeah.
Easily turn Natalya into a heel.
And that's what they
Especially
did
after
teasing
her
with
loss.
NXT,
They
yes.
borderline
Especially after
tried
her
to do
loss
it.
this past Thursday night on NXT TakeOver,
And-
which was a fantastic Divas
Yes.
match, which never, ever, ever will make. Honestly, until I see it on the main roster, I'm not going to be happy because I've been saying it to all these guys down here, and I've been saying it to all of you that listen to Wrestling Rumors Radio that Charlotte is amazing, and that's another girl that came. Yes, she came from a Flair family, but the girl could not go 2 years ago, and now the girl is great.
she's
and,
been in NXT for 2 years.
Very good in the ring, and I
You want to
think
build
we'll see-
around someone in the division, it's Charlotte, not
Yes.
Summer Rae.
Yes, I
Can
totally
I-
agree.
Here's what I wonder though. Summer Rae, she's a little bit up there in age, considering when she's finally debuting. Is the problem that going to be that she's not going to have enough time to really get into her own to be anywhere near what you're talking about, John, with like Trish
I'm not
Stratus?
saying it's gonna happen, Ed. I'm just telling you
I'm-
that is what they see, and I believe that that's what they see, and that's
Okay.
the reason she got involved with Total Divas.
I just don't get it.
But I
Yeah,
know
well,
we
don't
gotta.
say that, John, because Rosa's on the third
Well,
season.
no, that's just for the sake of adding another character. But
Well, they could easily add Paige. who's the
Alicia
who's the
Fox is
champion.
pretty much on that show.
I wondered why it wasn't Alicia. But anyway, speaking of Alicia Fox, we're drinking for this match. Anytime it's mentioned that Paige comes from a wrestling background or a wrestling family, the word crazy and Alicia Fox are used in the same sentence. They mentioned Fox taking JBL's hat a few weeks back. Cole notes how athletic Fox is, and if Fox throws a tirade after the match, whether she wins or loses.
Completely random. Who's Fox's? She got released, did she? Fox's sister.
Yeah, Christina
yeah,
Crawford
yeah.
from Tough Enough.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Cool.
Okay, what was that? What relevance does that have
I
into
couldn't
what we're
remember.
talking
Like I just
think
wanted
Tough Enough is still-
clarification.
She returns tonight.
program.
about?
Yeah.
Return.
Walter
God,
wins.
AJ would be so pissed, Doug. He would be so pissed.
Oh.
Do we have any chance of seeing AJ today? It isn't where she lives now.
No,
no.
she'll be with Punk at the Blackhawks game.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they ain't missing that game.
No, they're not, and that's
Smart
exactly
man.
where they're going to be. Everyone that's hoping for CM Punk to return tonight, get off your crazy train. Get off of the.
Well,
Stop
no,
riding.
Punk's actually physically riding.
Yeah.
People wear a jersey that on the back will say
I was
not
going to
at
say
Payback.
stop riding Alicia Fox's train, but
PG-13.
we're trying to go. Yeah. So let's move to the next match really, really fast. U.S. Championship. Sheamus, who's the current champion, versus Cesaro. We did not all agree on this one either. And this is the cool thing about, just to let everybody know that's watching, when you go on WrestlingRumors.net and you look at our predictions, each staff member makes a prediction, sends it to Mr. Chris Walter, who puts them together for us with nice little graphics and images to let you know if you can't read, if you're not of English descent and you can't read the name that we pick, he makes sure that there's an image there so that you can see, oh, they picked so-and-so. And we're very excited that Walter does that for us. It's a great thing to show you guys what we're thinking as it goes forward. You know that we all watch the product very closely. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing these hangouts with you guys if we didn't watch it very closely. And we all send them separately, and we never see each other's predictions until we actually look at the article that Chris puts together. And I got on yesterday and was looking at people's predictions and was very surprised to see that 3 of us straight out the chute, 4 of us actually, straight out the chute picked Sheamus to win via disqualification. This is again one of those weird matchups that you can honestly say, okay, Cesaro is not going to win the U.S. title, or at least he shouldn't. He doesn't need it. So there's no point in him going over here. And of course, Sheamus has been teased to have a heel turn coming very, very soon. So for us, myself, Will Benson, John Alba, and Frank Manzo immediately picked Sheamus via disqualification. John, I know for myself why I picked Sheamus via DQ. I want you to tell me why you picked Sheamus via DQ, and then we'll go on from there.
The overwhelming consensus on the internet seems to be that Cesaro's going to win this match, which to me just, I just, like you said, Doug, I don't get how he could walk away with the title. Right. The title would be useless for him, which is exactly why I picked Sheamus via disqualification, because at the same time, Sheamus can't beat Cesaro cleanly. Now, at the same time, Sheamus could win via pinfall if Heyman were to accidentally screw up or something like that. But I see some type of screwy thing here. They've been playing up the head angle with Sheamus, so maybe Cesaro beats him up a little too much. Maybe Heyman gets involved and costs Cesaro the match in that way. I'm not sure, but there's no way, in my opinion, that Cesaro should have that belt. And
I know, and I'm going to speak for myself, and I do believe, after talking to Frank Manzo, after reading the predictions, that I do believe he believes the same thing. And I know, Frank, you're listening, so if you can tweet us to let us know if this is your thought process as well, let us know. For myself, I believe that it is Paul Heyman who somehow gets involved in this match and costs Cesaro the bout. This gets us started on a train that'll take us all the way to SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar versus Cesaro. We know that's where they're wanting to go. We know that they want to give Cesaro the rub off of beating the guy that beat the streak. And for me, it's one of those things where if you get Heyman to screw up, it creates some tension between Cesaro and Heyman. And then from there you get, Cesaro starts getting pissed off that Heyman is literally just hyping up his client Brock Lesnar instead of the King of Swing. He barely mentions Cesaro, which is why he does that. We're going to get that match. We're going to get to that point where Cesaro gets fed up with the fact that his representative, his manager, is not building him up as much as he's building Brock Lesnar up, because he's going to be jealous and want to get over. But that's the thing. I don't see Cesaro winning the U.S. title here. I don't see that happening, and I just can't imagine Sheamus going over clean. If Sheamus goes over clean, I can't fathom the booking of that as far as making Cesaro look weak. Now, if Heyman gets involved, Cesaro tells him to get out, and then Sheamus hits him with the bro kick and gets the pin, that could happen. I could see that happening. Warhood, you have Sheamus via pin, correct?
Yes.
Is that the kind of thing that you see happening there?
Something screwy. It's going to be either they tease the heel turn and he does something that's dirty, and then takes advantage of a stumbling Cesaro for the bro kick, or Heyman gets involved in some way, screws with Cesaro, Cesaro gets bro kicked.
Am I the only one that doesn't? Am I the only one that thinks we don't see a swing, a giant swing from Cesaro again, until he puts the swing on Paul Heyman?
I agree.
That could be a way to go.
Oh yeah.
Either
I'm not
Heyman
saying it's
or
happening
Lesnar.
tonight. It's not happening.
The thing
tonight.
is, though, is that if it's a hot enough crowd, I mean, it'll be awfully hard to avoid temptation.
Well, he may go for it tonight, but he's not going to hit it.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's just where we are as far as those that have picked Sheamus to go over in this match, whether it's via disqualification or via pinfall. We have others, such as Chris Walter and Alex Bisong, who have picked Cesaro. Joe Omega picked Cesaro via pinfall, and so did Chris Walter and Borbath. Tell me, Walter, why you picked Cesaro via pinfall here?
Well, I'm actually going to
that makes him the U.S. champion.
Yes. I'll let Mr. Alex explain first.
No. Alex has a different finish.
Yeah.
He does have a different finish.
Alex,
you have countouts.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
The U.S. title. So you tell me why you have Cesaro winning the U.S. title tonight.
Okay. I think Sheamus, first of all, is a transitional champion. I don't see him holding on to the belt for a year like we saw with Dean Ambrose. And I also don't get the reasoning behind, you know what, if he's the United States champion, he couldn't possibly be a main eventer, because Ambrose was technically a main eventer with the Shield, and he just kind of wore the belt as an accessory, and I kind of see Cesaro falling under that same guidelines. And also, the last time I said Sheamus was going to lose a match because they were playing up an injury was in the Intercontinental Championship tournament. I forget if it was his shoulder or his head, but I said that was going to be the reason why he would lose to Barrett in the semifinals, and that's what eventually happened. I just think I don't want to see a disqualification. That's one of my main reasons at this point. I think Chicago would poop all over a false finish, and I think Cesaro, whether he's a tweener, a face, a heel, whatever they want him to be, I think he's so over at this point. I don't think they should derail his momentum. Put the belt on him. It won't make him any less of a star in the minds of the fans.
Walter, if I don't think Chicago would be all about crapping on the finish of Cesaro Sheamus being a disqualification if there was storyline progression coming out of it. I mean, I'll tell you from firsthand experience, I was in Philadelphia for Money in the Bank last year, and Philly is a very hot wrestling crowd as well, and that's when AJ cost Ziggler the title. And I mean, that's a huge thing right there, and Ziggler's super over, but it was storyline progression. And the heat was there, but it was proper heat, and it was heat on AJ for doing it, not on the actual finish of the match.
It was the start of Ziggler's downfall as well.
It was.
Right, but I just think it's too soon to start teasing. I mean, we all are under the assumption that it's going to be Cesaro and Lesnar at SummerSlam. I'm not thinking that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen further down the line. I think it's too early in this whole process to be teasing tension between Heyman and Cesaro. It was only the night after WrestleMania that these two even got together. They got through Extreme Rules, okay. This is the second pay-per-view since that happened. I think you still have to kind of let things progress, and then fans will care more when he does eventually turn on Paul Heyman.
All right. AB has a different finish. AB has Cesaro going over, but it's via countout. So you explain yourself, boys.
I like that.
All right, so like Doug and John touched on this, I do not see this match ending clean. There's no way that Cesaro is going to become the champion, and I don't see Sheamus beating him via pinfall cleanly. However, I do think that I agree with Walter in this, that it is too early to start the tease of Heyman splitting away from Cesaro. I think that's something you could kick off at Money in the Bank, because there is going to be a Money in the Bank ladder match, which may very well have Cesaro in it, and you could see something like last year where Heyman's not going to just straight up cost Cesaro in that match like he did the CM Punk, but there you could start the tension of that, and instead I think at one point we're going to have these two at the outside of the ring. There, you could have Cesaro just beat Sheamus to a pulp there, have him come back into the ring because he doesn't want that title, end the match there, and then afterwards, him and Heyman cut a promo.
I don't hate it. It was one of those things where I didn't know whether to pick Sheamus via pinfall after a miscue by Heyman. I didn't know whether to pick via countout, Cesaro wins either. I'm glad that you did that, and you were the only one that did. You're the only one that had the balls to say something different.
And I'll tell you what, the count out you could play into the head injury too on the outside.
Yes.
His head injury, can't get up. That's how you could hold it. I like that a lot, B-Song.
I do too. John, tell us what we're drinking during this game.
Sure, we are going to be drinking anytime Heyman mentions Lesnar beating the streak. If he mentions Cesaro, if JBL mentions Cesaro is Swiss, which happens a lot. They play into Sheamus's head injuries. Waterfall if Sheamus turns heel somehow, and in the event of a double turn, which was brought up by a few people, every sip for the rest of the night must be followed with my client Brock Lesnar.
Brock
the streak.
Lesnar. But my thing is, it may be too early. It's one of those things where I went back and forth. It may be too early to start teasing this, but I'm gonna go ahead and hashtag bold predict this thing. We're seeing Cesaro versus Lesnar at both SummerSlam and Battleground. Or not SummerSlam and Battleground, but SummerSlam and Night of Champions. Brock Lesnar's on the card both times, and I think that's where you get 2 matches out of those guys. Which, honestly, the Heyman and Cesaro deal could instantly happen, could start at Battleground, and the next night could start building towards Lesnar-Cesaro, because they're going to build Lesnar for 4 weeks. That's just how they do with Lesnar. If you go back and look at any time Lesnar's built towards a match with someone at a pay-per-view, it's a 4-week build. So I see that. Yes, Ed.
Here's what my concern is with this match, and
Which one?
With Sheamus and Cesaro. Sorry, with Sheamus and Cesaro, where do you see is the focus completely on putting over Cesaro here, even if Sheamus remains champion? And if so, does that mean Sheamus is essentially just another paper champion just going forward with some subpar feuds, or do you see this as potentially a need for setting up later on the idea of a unification, or where do you see Sheamus not only after tonight but going down the road?
I see Sheamus. Okay, the rumor mill, multiple places too, not just Dave Meltzer. For those of you that think that we just copy and paste news that may be watching this show, even though you say that you don't do anything with us, I'll just go ahead and say for you people that watch this and you people. I'll become heel here. I don't care. I prefer heels to faces. For those people that literally think that, the rumor mill only ends with Dave Meltzer, you're wrong. I have sources within the WWE that we talk to personally. If you check out WrestlingRumors.net this week, you see some exclusive stuff from us, some exclusive rumors about what's going on backstage. Sheamus is likely going to be feuding with someone such as John Cena in the next few months. That's not something that they have not ruled out, and that's because of the heel turn. I literally see, and that'll be after SummerSlam when, because I literally, what I've heard from my buddy that works for WWE is that they're literally writing Bray Wyatt and John Cena till SummerSlam. That's how they've been writing it. That's how they're continuing to write it. You're not going to get an end game here tonight like everybody thinks that we will. And that it will keep going, and that we will see Cena Wyatt continue for the time being. Now, if they choose to end that early, and Sheamus finally turns heel, that's where I see him, Ed. Sheamus has to turn heel. We are lacking good heels. Bray Wyatt is supposedly a heel, but he's not. If he was a heel, he wouldn't be pandering to the crowd as much as he is. He is a tweener. And they don't have a lot of good heels right now.
This sounds a lot like a column that was on WrestlingRumors.net, Doug.
Oh, kind of like a character crisis.
A crisis.
A commentary on the such.
Nice
which was an excellent article. I put it over in
Thank you.
different Wrestling Rumors radio episodes as
Thank
well.
you.
Because you and I had the discussion before you wrote that thing that this is where we are, and then you, of course, went balls deep and started getting really interested in what you were going to say.
Going balls deep.
I agree.
Balls deep.
I agree. I love my turtle. I agree very, very much so that Sheamus has to turn. It just has to happen, or else his character's done. He is way too stale, and they wanted to do it immediately, but they were actually lacking good faces at the time. The Shield, the Wyatt family, all these good heels were there at the time. They were lacking main event faces. They just had John Cena and Daniel Bryan. They had just turned Randy Orton heel. Batista was getting booed out of the building. CM Punk had left, so they could not turn Sheamus heel at the moment. Christian got injured and was out. Of course, he's returning very soon. so we don't know where Christian's going to be. But honestly, I see Sheamus turning heel, and the rumor is right now that the next big feud for Sheamus is either Randy Orton or John Cena. That's where we're going. What that happens with the U.S. title, I don't know. But
Cesaro wins.
apparently Randy Orton is set to be turned face again before the fall. And, of course, Sheamus is going to turn heel. That's where we're going. That's what I believe, Ed. That's what my mouth is going to stick and write checks for, because I really do believe he's turning heel very soon.
Seems like a waste of the
Mouth of the
US title
South,
at this
McDonald.
Let me ask you guys this, though. I mean, going back to what we said with Cesaro and this presumed match with Brock Lesnar, here's the problem that I have with it. We just saw Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30 pick up arguably the biggest win in WWE history when he beat The Undertaker. If he goes up against Cesaro, whether it be at SummerSlam, thank you, whether he goes up at SummerSlam or Night of Champions, isn't it like just common sense that you cannot possibly, after such a victory, have Brock Lesnar lose that quickly?
The way I would have booked it, Waldo, truthfully, I would have booked it as Lesnar taking the title at SummerSlam and then Cesaro cashing in at Night of Champions.
Which still could happen.
Actually, here.
I'm still under the impression, like, if I was booking this whole feud, I would actually have Lesnar versus Cesaro at WrestleMania 31, to be honest.
Oh, I mean, there's tons of money in that, too.
Okay.
Right, but that's not happening.
All right. Here's the way. If we really are looking at Cesaro as potentially a Money in the Bank winner, and you do put Lesnar Bryan in as the title match for SummerSlam, presumably, let's put it out there. If you do if Bryan goes over somehow and Lesnar just beats the hell out of him, he small packages him for the win or whatever, and Lesnar or Cesaro tries cashing in like last year's SummerSlam, Lesnar cuts him off. That's potentially where you do see the Heyman break.
I would just have Lesnar go over Bryan. I mean, Lesnar, when he does get the title, and that's a when, not an if,
yes.
When he gets the title, he's going to have a short reign. It's not going to be a long reign. So the time from SummerSlam to Night of Champions would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see, honestly, because what I would see is Heyman or Cesaro hitting with the briefcase if he wins it.
I mean, I'm not going
to while Paul Heyman's freaking out on the side.
I mean, that's fantasy booking at that point. But Doug, you keep mentioning it. You know, they're trying to make Night of Champions be a big pay-per-view this year.
Yes.
So
I mean,
think about that. Cesaro says, "I'm not going to surprise you. I'm going to cash in that briefcase. I want the freak. I want the freak at Night of Champions." I mean, that's huge.
It's big booking. It's perfect. I love it, John. We talked about that on Wrestling Warm Up before Extreme Rules. We actually said the same thing there.
Well,
that's
Cesaro
how we could see it going, with Cesaro winning the Money in the Bank and going forward with Brock Lesnar. What that does to Daniel Bryan, that's yet to be seen. But what's going on is, and I can tell you this with confidence with my buddy that works for the company, is that they really want to push Cesaro to be the next Daniel Bryan, as far as getting the fans to get behind him in a semi-organic way, and to seriously. I mean, they just monikered the guy King of Swing. He hasn't done the swing in 4 weeks. They're waiting for that when he goes back to full face. And really gets that back on, because they know the swing was what was getting him over in the first place. That's what got him over as a face. So the biggest thing right now is they are booking Night of Champions as basically the second WrestleMania of the year. Why? Because now the pay-per-views from here in are all about the network. They have to be. If they're not, they're screwing up. Why do we see excellent matches in NXT TakeOver, NXT Arrival? Why are we seeing these amazing matches?
The menagerie is here! Run!
Who's got the ice cream man in their backyard?
Waldo, like 3 people watching this got that joke. So.
I understand it. I knew it.
I want some rocket pops. I'll go out there and get him.
Okay, so honestly, they're booking Night of Champions because of the network. All network pay-per-views, all pay-per-views, period, are going to be booked for the network now, because that's where they're trying to get their money. That's where they're trying to get you to come in and watch each event. And for people that don't know, SummerSlam's the last pay-per-view offered under the first original 6-month agreement for the WWE Network. If you signed up for the WWE Network and you didn't do auto-renew for your subscription, then yours ends before Night of Champions. Now, that's a big freaking deal to the company that just lost $400 and some odd $1 million in revenue, not to mention their stocks have plummeted and have gone down because investors just aren't buying this whole network being a success. If they lose, because they're about to launch it, they're about to launch the network overseas. Hopefully it'll be in Canada soon, Walter, or maybe before Night of Champions, which has been a rumor. Anyway, just saying. They want to get to their $2.2, $2.5 million range to be in profit. If they hit 1.7, they're breaking even. They are at 750,000, 780,000 subscribers right now. Of those 780,000 subscribers, how many of them do you think are on auto-renew? If they're not, then they cannot watch Night of Champions unless they renew again. And so the biggest thing is going to be making Night of Champions look so good that people have to renew, that people have to buy in. People that didn't buy in at first have to buy in to see it. And that's why they're going to book Night of Champions like WrestleMania 2. For those of you who have not been paying attention to WrestlingRumors.net, those of you who have not been reading our exclusive articles and not been listening to Wrestling Rumors Radio, these are the kind of things, if you're watching, if you're reading, if you're listening, these are the kind of things that you know before we even get to this point. They're literally going to be booking Night of Champions like so, like a WrestleMania-style card. John, when will we be taking sips from our cup in this match?
I already went through that.
Well, I want to know again.
That's much more booze.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No, we don't have to do that.
I was gonna say.
I got off. I was just. I wanted to hear it again, but we'll move on. That's fine. Let's get to. We have 2 matches left. Let's talk about one of these main events, which is Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, and then we'll get to Shield Evolution. And
we have potentially 3 matches done.
Are we covering the
potentially because there might be something that happens from this, and we'll talk about that as well. But John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, last man standing, and we have a plethora of finishes being called by people here at WrestlingRumors.net. Myself say that it's going to end in a no contest. And I'll explain why I believe it's a no contest after everybody else explains, because everyone else actually picked a clean finish. Will Benson picks Bray Wyatt to go over John Cena. John Alba picks John Cena. Frank Manzo picks John Cena. Chris Walter picks John Cena. Alex Bison picked Bray Wyatt as well. So did Joe Omega. Borbath picked John Cena, and Warhood picked Bray Wyatt. Warhood, we're going to start with you. Tell us why you feel like Bray Wyatt's going over in this match.
2 reasons.
He's going to defeat Super Cena in a last man standing match. You tell me how that happens.
3 reasons. 1, I think there's going to be interference from the Wyatt family, even though I know what the other match is that you're teasing. 2, I don't see how the feud continues if Cena goes over clean, if Cena wins. I can't fathom how you continue that storyline. And then 3, to your point, it's the most likely thing to happen, but I don't feel they'd rehash what they did with Ryback and John Cena at their last man standing match.
Okay. Alex Bisong, why is Bray Wyatt going over in this match?
Well, I agree with Warhood's second point that you can't really... Well, you can, but I don't see that you can progress the feud if Cena does win. But basically, the last man standing match, it's there either for one of 2 things, in my opinion. There could be a no contest, like you said, and there's also the chance that Bray Wyatt can win without pinning Cena, which is how you can progress this feud to these later pay-per-views and eventually SummerSlam.
So you're saying, and I just want to throw this out here because this is the only way that I could see it progressing, and with the point that you just said, John Cena has yet to be pinned by Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt beat him in a steel cage match, and if he wins the night, then he goes over in a last man standing match, which to me
is way worse than getting pinned.
If Bray Wyatt beats him 1, 2, 3, that's a lot less than a last man standing match. It takes 10 seconds for him to stand up. So I don't see how that could be the case. John Cena's going to come out and say, "You've never pinned me for the victory." Well, you know what? If I knock you down for 10 seconds, unless he uses duct tape or something like that,
duct tape.
Before, I just don't know if that's probable. Now let's move on to the John Cena picks, like from Walter. John Cena goes over. Why? Because he's Super Cena?
Yeah, that could be the reason. But I actually read this piece by former WWE referee Jimmy Corderas, who actually does a show here in Toronto.
Yes.
And he talked about the John Cena versus Bray Wyatt match, and what they've been doing on Raw the last couple of weeks is Wyatt is basically teasing that Cena is one day, whether it's in this feud or somewhere down the road, he's going to become that monster that Wyatt believes him to be. And I'm not saying that involves him being a heel turn, but what Corderas proposed was that during this last man standing match, Cena is going to use the various means, like really
Like
heelish tactics. Well, not
No, like
duct
he
tape.
was getting brutal.
Like he's going to get physical. He's going to become the man that he never thought he would be, but he's going to have to go and take his game to another level, a more physical, a more brutal level, to get rid of Bray Wyatt once and for all. And people are going to maybe see that as a heel turn. I don't think so. I just think Wyatt is going to get what he wants out of this. He's going to make Cena that monster, but Cena's going to ultimately go over.
Ed, you didn't make an official choice, but tell me what you think about this match.
Officially, I got Wyatt winning. I think Cena needs to be chasing in this feud, especially if they are going to SummerSlam. And the great thing about this match is Cena doesn't actually have to say "I quit." He has lost last man standing matches before, so there is precedence on this. My thing is that Bray can spin this off so well, as we've seen in the past, and he can play this as Cena representing the WWE Universe. It can fall easily prey to the Eater of All Worlds. So that extends a lot further. I'm thinking about Walter's point as using nefarious means, and the only way I can see Cena using something non-duct tape-ish as nefarious would be taking a kid and using him as a steel chair at this point, because that's probably the only thing I can actually see Cena doing.
Wielding a kid, and you get a kid. All right, John.
I got Bray though.
You picked John Cena, so
yeah.
Off of Walter, tell me what you think.
Well, I'm going to tell you. First off, the no contest went through my head, Doug, and I thought about what's ahead of us, and what's directly ahead of us is Money in the Bank.
Correct.
Okay? And I said to myself, Bray Wyatt and John Cena very well both may be involved in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Very well may both be involved in that. And that played a lot into my decision here. I also thought about Walter's point. That same thing happened in my head, because here's the thing. They've booked Cena like that before. And it has been that explanation. Oh, he had to go to whatever means necessary. And I totally agree with you on that, Chris. With Kane, with Lesnar, exactly. They did Kane and Lesnar back-to-back on that.
Yes, they did.
And I mean, that's very possible here. My idea here is Bray Wyatt should go over. He should. But I think it's a safer option to go with Cena. And heading into Money in the Bank, you have a lot of options, because then you can keep it fresh. Doug, you say this feud's going to go all the way until SummerSlam. Well, let's play the hypotheticals here. Let's say this does go till SummerSlam. You can only have so many one-on-one matches between them. You can still play up that feud between them in the Money in the Bank match, and you can have Wyatt going after other guys, too. I'll tell you what. Here's how I would book Bray Wyatt for the next month. You have all these guys competing for the Money in the Bank, get him in that match, and have him just terrorizing everyone in the match. Not just Cena, but including Cena as well. That's how I'd do it.
I mean, I like it. I'm not going to go against it. I know that this feud's going to continue. And for me, the reason I picked no contest, we've seen it before, to go on Warhoods, since I honestly don't think that they believe that people remember that Ryback and Cena ended in a no contest last man standing match. I don't think that they even think about it. My thing is, I don't think that either man can really go over here. The only thing that, and I waffled back and forth between no contest and John Cena, and my reasoning was what you just said, John. My reasoning was, if they do go John Cena, and then they both go the Money in the Bank, you can restart the feud at Money in the Bank.
Exactly. And
really get it going again for Battleground and SummerSlam, and really have SummerSlam be the end-all, be-all, which has to be in a Hell in a Cell at this point. For me, I just, because Hell in a Cell theoretically would keep everyone out. For me, I think that there's outside interference from both the Wyatt family, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, and the Usos tonight, in some way, shape, or form. And I literally believe that it's going to be a no contest in some way. Whether it's both men lay out for a 10 count and then neither one of them can get up, or it's something different. I'm really not sure what they're going to do. It's a crapshoot at this point. I flipped the coin and said I'm going with no contest. I may be the only one that believes that no contest is the route that they're going to go. I don't know. We got 50 some odd people watching this thing back and forth. So if you're watching us right now, get on Twitter. Let us know what you believe is going to happen in this match. Whether it's going to be a no contest, whether it's going to be Wyatt, whether it's going to be Cena. Let us know. Because honestly, I don't think there's any way that the Wyatt family and the Usos don't get involved here, and that may lead to another match that we see on the card because they've teased it for the last couple of weeks, and we know that the Wyatt family and the Usos should have a title match coming up very soon. If it's not tonight, it'll be very soon, and possibly at Money in the Bank, and that'll be a tag title match between the Usos and the Wyatt family. Tell me, John Alba, when we're going to drink during this match, and if there's anything special that we're going to do, if there is a tag title match added to the card.
Yes, well, I did add those to it. I'll start with the tag title match. JBL joins the Uso chant, okay, because he likes doing that. JBL says "Flying Usos."
What's up?
I actually forgot it for this one, so I'll have to get a pass. I always do the Shades of Their Father thing, but I'll give that a pass for this one. The camera does a close-up of Harper's face when he's doing the bug eyes. Yeah. And Harper and Rowan take the titles and then slowly walk away as their music plays them off. I think that would be such an awesome visual. As for Cena Wyatt, Lawler asks how many times these two can keep escaping the 10 count. Which I actually went back and watched a lot of Last Man Standing matches, and that's exactly what he does. The crowd sings "Whole World in His Hands" during the match. Cell phones light up during Wyatt's entrance, which they've been doing, and it's awesome. The kid used at Extreme Rules makes a return. Finish the drink. That was Jordan Katz's idea, Doug. So if the Play 60 kid makes a return, which Ed suggested using him as a chair. So I guess if he does that, just finish everything you have.
Just love to see forehead to forehead connection. That'd be amazing.
If the fight goes backstage or near the entranceway, and then if the Usos and/or Rowan and Harper help decide the finish.
I mean, you can't, and that's not theoretically a chair shot, so it can't be a $5,000 fine.
No.
If you hit someone in the head with a 6-year-old kid, I mean.
Can that be a great Make-A-Wish? I want to be used as a steel chair.
John Cena granting wishes.
I have a question.
Yes.
And this is just because I don't think my mind, when it comes to wrestling, is as developed as you guys. Why can't Bray Wyatt win?
Because he's facing John Cena.
Let me finish it. I'm trying to. Why can't he win and then the feud?
Are you in a school bus?
No, why?
I'm in a bus.
What? They just finish up, what?
Do the wheels on the bus go round and round, John?
Stop.
Only for those whose world is in their hands.
See, we're trolling.
Go ahead, Rosebud. Tell us. What.
If John Cena win, or I'm so confused.
Come on, boy.
Come on, boy. I got so much more to talk about.
You're right. Your bright isn't developed.
Why can't your Bray win and then the feud again restart at Money in the Bank? Like everyone's saying is going to happen with John Cena.
Can't happen. It's John Cena.
It could.
It's not happening. That's not a possibility. Sorry.
Look,
if they restart at Money in the Bank at Battleground, if the Usos and Rowan and Harper are involved, you could have a 6-man match there, and then you have the final one versus.
I agree that there could be a 6-man match, but Bray Wyatt's not going over clean on John Cena. That's ridiculous. That's not booking. That's not wrestling booking. I'm sorry. If you want to know why, you want to talk about your brain's not as developed wrestling-wise as us. It's because we're marks that have watched hours upon hours upon hours of this stuff and grown up with it. I've been watching it for the last 20 years. No, I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that there's future money going forward in a program that's going to continue between John Cena, who is Superman of the company, who is your Hulk Hogan of the company currently, no matter if Hogan's involved now or not. John Cena is your current Hogan. There's no way.
And if
No
Wyatt does
way.
go clean,
He gets beat clean, and then that storyline continues.
well, if Wyatt does get the clean win, it's at SummerSlam.
Correct.
It's
Yes,
at
it doesn't
there's
have
no
to
way it's
clean.
now.
I just
and
feel
that's-
like this
and that-
feud has run its course.
no
Like,
way
I'm just
it's
kind of
now.
over it.
Oh, I don't want to
It's
see it go
definitely-
till
It's definitely
SummerSlam.
reached its end.
I don't
There's no
want to
way.
see it go till SummerSlam, and I think the rumors we reported out earlier in the week with Wyatt versus Bryan at SummerSlam is a little more likely than that continuing personally. But I don't know. We'll just have to see. All I know is we got 25 more minutes, Doug, until the kickoff show, until the hair mask. And
Until
we got,
hair
We've
mask.
got one more match to talk
we
about.
got one more match and one big stipulation.
Yeah. Here's my thing. We got the Shield versus Evolution elimination tag, and to fill people in, recent booking for house shows and tours have come out to say that Roman Reigns, and not the Shield, they aren't promoting the Shield. They're promoting Roman Reigns as a single wrestler, along with Dean Ambrose, June WWE Magazine, article about going through the daggum. Talked about that his former partners, the Shield. Along with that, and the whole Kane is going to be facing Roman Reigns during the overseas tours. It's hard to say that Evolution is going to go over here or the Shield's going to go over here and remain a faction, remain a three-man staple. If people want to go with that, that's fine. I originally had the Shield going over. I thought that would be an excellent place to build Roman Reigns up as a monster. Have Rollins and Ambrose get defeated first, and have Reigns defeat all three members of Evolution. But I just now really thinking about these guys being split, and really thinking about Kane facing Roman Reigns with different scenarios and different things planned out for the upcoming overseas tours. I just really I couldn't go with that. So as we go through the picks, no holds barred elimination match. Evolution, Triple H being the sole survivor is what I have. Will Benson has the Shield with Roman Reigns being the sole survivor. John Alba has Evolution with Triple H being the sole survivor. Frank Manzo has Evolution with Triple H being the sole survivor. So does Walter. So does AB. So does Joe Omega. And Borath actually has the Shield with Roman Reigns being the finish. And, of course, Warhood also has Evolution and Triple H being the sole survivor. None of us believe that Randy Orton can get the rub here. It has to be Triple H being the last man standing. And no one in this panel actually was ballsy enough to keep the Shield as the actual winners of the match. Anybody got anything other than going off of what we've heard in the magazine, going off of the booking coming up for the overseas tours? Anybody else have anything? Any reason why they want to say Evolution is definitely going?
I'm not looking entirely into the magazine, because the magazine.
No, that's just an added thing.
That could have been printed before WrestleMania, for all we know. And clearly, we all know the plans were at some point for them to split the Shield up, and then they changed things on the fly. They did.
Yes, they did. Everything changed.
So I'm not as much focused on the magazine. The Kane booking is a little more interesting. Mm-hmm. That's a little more eye-opening. Now, I don't think you necessarily need to break the Shield off. What I think would be really cool is if you broke them off in different directions while still being an entity. And I mentioned that to you, Doug. Have them go off on singles runs against the members of Evolution.
Correct.
And in Roman Reigns' case versus Kane rather than Triple H, because your payoff matches at SummerSlam. Only difficulty I see with that is there's a long way till SummerSlam, and
2 more pay-per-views.
Getting it there could be a little worrisome.
Yeah.
If we're okay, let's say we are looking at Batista. This is his last match. By the way, I do have the Shield with Reigns as the sole survivor. Let's say this is Batista's last match. I really can't see them interested in putting over Evolution, but still.
Who does Reigns pin?
Reigns gets it on Triple H. I'll go with if I'm going Shield, I'm gonna go Reigns over Triple H.
That's who I had originally. Yeah.
If I take it that way, and if we do win, if I buy the article. And and the Kane booking and all that. Let's say Money in the Bank's coming up. It's one match. They're going to want to squeeze in a lot of potential number one contenders. I could see something where Triple H still holds a vendetta, and as a COO, he tries to force a wedge and force them into a fight to basically try to get top supremacy, to get the top tier, and put them triple threat, and try to put a wedge there, and that sort of plants seeds going into Money in the Bank. That's if I'm talking about Shield separation now.
We have to look at this. If these bookings are true, Buried Alive match is out of the question now between Ryan and Kane. If these are true,
thank God.
That's not happening.
Right.
You know what, Ed? I don't
could happen
know.
in Battleground.
It could, but I don't know why. I don't even know where I'm going with this.
The thing is that Shield, we don't know why they didn't pull the trigger before. I mean,
yes, we do. Yes,
I'm
we
fine
do.
with them not because they want a babyface run with them, and that's fine.
That's true. That's true. Okay, I'm going to retract that. They could have done it then. It's going to happen at some point, and there's going to be some heel. It's going to be a 2-to-1 heel to face ratio. So at some point they have to start pushing Reigns a little more into individual.
I still disagree with that. I don't think it has to be a 2-to-1 heel to face ratio.
I don't either.
But last week, start.
Yes, Walter.
Oh, well, last week on Wrestling Warm-Up, I brought the notion that this match is going to eventually turn into a 3-on-1 situation. I have Ambrose and Rollins being the first two guys eliminated. We see Reigns defeat Orton and Batista, and then when it comes down to Triple H gets the pin. Hashtag bold prediction, and I honestly give this like a 33% chance of happening. I think we do see a heel turn tonight from either Ambrose or Rollins, and I think one of those two will be the one who costs Reigns that final pinfall, with Triple H going over. Again, we're hearing reports that Batista may stick around a little bit longer. I don't think that's the case because Guardians of the Galaxy is literally just around the corner. It's debuting on August 1st. And Batista's going to be doing his promotions for that. And I'm also not saying that Ambrose or Rollins will be joining Evolution, but I think a heel turn is in order. I think the Shield has kind of played itself out at this point. Evolution and Shield, this whole storyline will end. Reigns will focus on whoever that person is who turned on him, but we will get Reigns versus Triple H at SummerSlam.
Well, it was very important on Raw that Triple H kept bringing up this could be the last time you see these two entities together in the ring together.
Yep.
And there's not. It's not like he mentioned that once. That came up multiple times throughout the ring.
It was also put out. It was also put out on. Yes, the announcer said it, and it was also put on WWE.com. So it's one of those things where it could actually happen.
If there was ever a special event that needed something of this magnitude, it's Payback.
Warhood, you just messaged me. Why didn't you just say it in here? I don't understand.
Well,
I don't understand.
Because Chris Walter was in the middle of talking, and I didn't want to interrupt him.
Yeah, but we're roots over here. It doesn't matter, man.
Tell us what you just saw.
We like wrestling.
No, I was just tweeted by, let me get the right person, Trax Vincity, that Goldust and Cody Rhodes will be facing Ryback tonight.
Okay.
Ryback.
What?
It's on a T-shirt.
It's on the
Payback.
Yes, on the
now,
Payback.
It also looks like it's in a parking lot, which means it very well could have come from an unofficial vendor.
Yeah.
Well,
and it also has Adam Rose and Swagger on that. That would make this card with more matches than WrestleMania 30 had.
Yes, it does. And I already said to John before. I said to John Alba before the show went live that I totally could see Adam Rose and Jack Swagger being added during the event because I literally think they look at Jack Swagger like they look at Dolph Ziggler.
That SmackDown match was so bad.
How many times have we seen a Dolph Ziggler match just added, or a Miz match just added just because they need something to do and they have time to kill? With 7 matches, and especially last man standing match, it's going to go long. An Evolution Shield match is going to go long. We could get a match like a Rhodes Dynasty versus Ryback match added, or we could see Rowan Harper versus the Usos added, or we could see Rose versus Swagger. They've all been building towards these things. That any of these could be added tonight. If we do, I totally see Ryback, which I can't even say I'm about to say. I could see Ryback going over and
what closes this show anyway?
Fueling the Evolution
That's a good question.
I say
Evolution
Shield. Yeah, I say Evolution Shield.
And before Evolution Shield, you get Daniel Bryan making the choice of whether or not he's going to surrender the title or not.
Is there any chance Last Man Standing main events this thing?
I mean,
no. Nope.
There's potentially
No,
better
Ed.
visual, but
No.
all right.
I mean, the main event of the past 4 Raws has been
Shield,
Evolution and Shield.
and that's what they believe is the money going into this pay-per-view.
Well, that was the case for Extreme Rules, and it was on at 9 o'clock.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
but you still had a
you
championship.
had a title
Yeah.
match. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have a title match here, and that's what they're building towards. Any of these 3 matches could be added. Kickoff show starts in 15 minutes. Honestly, with the Daniel Bryan thing, it's a coin flip. Who
We got
freaking
a
knows
drink.
where they're going to go with that?
Shield.
Yeah, okay, well, just tweet out the drinking rules. We need to get going. We need to get...
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to miss Hair versus
show's
Max.
developed.
Okay.
Hey, don't get hot. I am going to tell Patrick. Patrick came in at the last minute. Patrick, you can tell us. I'm going to go through the daggum panel, and I'm going to hit on some things. I want a one-word answer.
Yeah, sorry for coming late.
Your one-word description of what you think this event is going to be like tonight, Patrick. You start. One word.
Disappointing.
AB.
Comedic.
Walter.
Worse dash than dash NXT TakeOver.
Ed.
Painful.
Alba.
Unpredictable.
Warhood.
I can't say it. I have it, but I can't say it.
Whatever. All right. Me. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
It does have potential, but I just don't know if they want to pull the trigger at this pay-per-view.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
Hey, if you read my comment, they
interesting.
can hit the restart button tonight. They can hit the restart button tonight.
They could. We'll see if it happens. It's been Doug McDonald. It's been Wrestling Warm-Up. Thanks to everyone that's been tuning in. That was awesome to have you guys. Thanks to everyone that joined us on the panel. You can follow them at all their respective Twitter handles that I'm not going to go through because it's way for me to call out and remember at this point. I'm at a point where I can't. And this game that we're playing tonight is just going to make it worse. Thank you for joining us tonight. Payback starts in 15 minutes with the kickoff show. Enjoy wrestling. Enjoy Payback, hopefully. And we'll see you again tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Wrestling Warm-Up before Raw. Enjoy yourself. We're out.